Welcome to the Abroad in America podcast, the only financial podcast designed specifically for expats living in America, where you go behind the scenes with financial planner, author, and speaker Jimmy Miller to learn how to make your time in America as financially rewarding as possible. And now, here's your host, Jimmy Miller.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Abroad in America. I'm your host, Jimmy Miller. Today we're talking about something that almost every expat hears about eventually, usually in a moment of panic, but very few people actually understand. We're talking about FATCA and the form that comes with it, Form 8938. Now, if you listen to episode 7 about the FBAR, you might be thinking, didn't we already do this? Isn't this the same thing? Well, the short answer is no. The long answer, they're related, they overlap, they confuse everyone, and they exist because the U.S. really hates hidden money. So today I'm going to explain what FATCA actually is, what Form 8938 is, and how it's different from the FBAR, who has to file it, and why this is one of the most misunderstood rules expats in America run into. And as always, no panic required. Let's start with FATCA itself. Now, FATCA stands for Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. And unlike the FBAR, which targets you, FATCA mainly targets banks. Here's the big idea. The U.S. government told foreign banks around the world, hey, if you want access to U.S. financial systems, you must tell us when U.S. persons hold accounts with you. And foreign banks listened because they want access to the U.S. financial system. That's why many expats have had this experience. When you walk into a bank back home and you try to open an account, they ask, are you a U.S. person? And when or if you say yes, suddenly things get awkward, and they want a bunch more information about you. That's FATCA. Foreign banks now report certain account information directly to the IRS. So the U.S. government already has a huge amount of data about foreign accounts held by U.S. persons, which is now likely you because you are working here in the United States. Which brings us to Form 8938. So what is this form? Well, Form 8938 is how you tell the IRS about your foreign financial assets. It's part of your tax return. It's not a separate filing like the FBAR. And this is important. Form 8938 is about foreign financial assets, not just bank accounts. So this includes foreign bank accounts as well, the same ones you included on your FBAR, but also foreign investment accounts, foreign stocks held outside the United States, certain foreign pensions, foreign mutual funds and ETFs. Yes, the PFIX we talked about earlier again. Interest in foreign entities in some cases as well, like certain trusts you may have back home. So if the FBAR is about where your money sits, Form 8938 in FATCA is about what foreign financial things you own. So who has to file this form? Unlike the FBAR, Form 8938 has higher thresholds, and they depend on your filing status and whether you live in the U.S. or you're a U.S. person living abroad. For expats living in the U.S., the most common thresholds are $50,000 on the last day of the year for single filers, or $75,000 at any one point during the year, any one day. And if you're married filing joint, it's $100,000 at year end, or $150,000 at any day along the way during the year. If your foreign financial assets exceed these amounts, you have to file Form 8938. And yes, these are separate thresholds from the FBAR's $10,000 rule, which means something very annoying but very important. You might have to file the FBAR only, you might have to file the Form 8938 only, or you might have to file both. Welcome to America. So why do you have to do both? Well, it's an excellent question. The FBAR exists under banking law in America, and Form 8938 exists under tax law. Different agencies, different penalties, different rules. But together, they form a system where the banks report, you report, and the IRS cross-checks everything. This is why accuracy matters. So let's talk briefly about penalties, and calmly. Failure to file the Form 8938 can result in a $10,000 penalty for failure to file and disclose, additional penalties if the IRS notifies you and you still don't file, and potential accuracy penalties if income wasn't reported properly. And just like with the PFIC issue, there's another hidden thing. If you don't file Form 8938 when required, the statute of limitations on your tax return can stay open longer, which means the IRS can come after you at any time in the future, even once you're back in your home country or another country. And this is something the IRS enjoys very much. Now, the good news is that most expats who miss Form 8938 don't do so intentionally. They didn't know. They weren't told. They assumed the FBAR covered everything. And in many cases, the issues can be corrected. The key is learning the rules early, which is exactly what you're doing right now. So the big takeaway, if you're an expat living in the U.S., the FBAR tells the government where your foreign accounts are. Form 8938 tells the IRS what foreign financial assets you own. And FATCA ensures that foreign banks are also talking to the U.S. government. See, it's not personal. It's not about you. It's just about visibility. Once you understand that, the whole system, while still annoying, makes a lot more sense. Now, that's it for today's episode of Abroad in America. In the next episode, we're going to zoom out and talk about something a little less technical, but just as important. The biggest mistakes expats make in their first 2 years living in the United States. And trust me, almost everyone makes at least one of them. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and as always, keep exploring.
Want even more ideas, tools, and resources on how to navigate your financial life as an expat in America? Check out all the resources on Jimmy's website at baobabwealthabroad.com and subscribe to the blog to stay up to date on issues affecting expats. Don't forget to subscribe to never miss an episode. See you next time. Baobab Wealth and Baobab Wealth Abroad are DBAs of Baobab Wealth LLC, a Florida-registered investment advisor. This podcast is designed for general education purposes only and shouldn't be taken as legal, investment, or tax advice. You should seek out a qualified tax professional or licensed financial advisor to determine what is best for your personal situation.